The new summer update to Star Citizen has been released at long last. It was quite a bit late, more than usual, like way more than usual, but it's here, and with it comes a slew of small but appreciated feature updates. So as usual, your favorite tomato is here to give you an eyeball-friendly overview of what to expect from the latest update to Star Citizen. If you'd like to see the process of me filming and creating these videos, make sure to find me on Twitch Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, with the occasional odd stream as I stream a variety of titles. You can also hit me up on Twitter so we can talk and insult each other like rabid fanboys. And before I get started, make sure to check out my ongoing August giveaway where you can win a Tumbril Cyclone. Details in the description below. Anyways, thanks for coming to this Tomato Talk. Of course, as with each patch, my first goal was to see if every planetary body had enough missions to keep someone entertained locally for several hours. A goal that CIG has been aiming for years now. And I'm happy to say that as of 3.10, it appears you can complete most missions without being required to fly across the system. Oh, happy day. In 3.10, we didn't necessarily get new locations, but rather location additions. New Babbage got the addition of its new Apple Store showcase, which is pretty nice. Very inspired, we'll say, and a nice showing of how different companies will maintain a different style throughout their products and locations. You'll be able to buy several new products here, including different Moby glasses. And at additional locations in New Babbage, you'll be able to buy the new Dashing Pico the Penguin. No, not that Pico. Yeah, there we go. This new store in New Babbage is an example of a hero store. One much like what we've seen of Hurston Dynamics in Loreville. We'll be seeing a lot more of these as more locations are added to the game. New Babbage also finally introduced the first high-tech hangars in the game, an asset we've been seeing for over a year now and an appreciated departure from the utilitarian style of the current landing zones. Also, pretty cool that these hangars have 2 entrances for extra people coming and going. That's new. Grimhex also saw a huge rework. This is a location that has been around for years, since August 2016 to be exact. The new update added hangars and an expansion of internal areas which can be explored and used to watch in-game races. Keep an eye out for my cinematic on this location. Planetary height maps have also been improved in Alpha 3.10 with the capability of higher resolutions. We are now seeing more detailed peaks and valleys with some impressive results. With these height map updates, derelict ships have been added to the surfaces of moons and planets again, so get out exploring to find the leftovers of those horrible pilots of the UEE. Sometimes you may find they're still hanging out around the wreck to fight back. Ocean shaders have been updated with new lighting reflections and effects to make for more realistic and interesting water features. The most important gameplay addition, in my opinion, is the new player trading app. Finally, at long last, you will be able to transfer money easily and immediately to friends or foes who demand you pay them for, well, whatever it is they're doing. Hopefully more often than not, they're your friends though. However, the implied idea here is that pirates will be able to actually hold people up and demand payment, as a real pirate would, rather than just blowing you up. Cause ain't nobody want to claim a ship in 100,000 UEC in waste again. Of course, this will also make it much easier to share rewards for that same cargo hauling trip and other non-mission payouts such as holding events and paying a winner. However, keep in mind there will be taxes associated with each transaction. I'll have a video about that in the near future, so subscribe and keep an eye out for it. Moving on to ship gameplay, there are quite a few small changes and some rather large ones. Expect to be greeted by the updated HUD that we've seen in new ships since late last year, along with some additional small changes for 3.10. No matter what ship you jump into, you'll get the newly updated UI. That being said, it's not final, and in fact is far from complete, as we will soon see new elements added, both 2D and 3D, as well as specific branding and styling for each ship manufacturer. If you'd like to learn more about what each manufacturer does differently in their ships in terms of branding and styling, because they are quite different, make sure to check out my series in the top corner or down in the video description. With these new HUD elements, there are also improvements to the tracking and targeting system for in-ship combat. The pip targeting system has been changed and will now be updated purely on velocity, which gives us a more stable firing solution. The turret system has seen the first implementation of a standalone building blocks derived UI, and the ability to look at opponents in free look and glean information on them has been added, such as direction, distance, and a new augmented reality ribbon trail which helps to place the ship in 3D space. Fixed weapons and turrets, both manned and remote controlled, now have a fixed assist system using weapon convergence to nudge weapons toward the target, while still recording precise aim and area targeting. This makes the turret gunner role a little easier to pick up while still rewarding invested skill. All the applied improvements allow turrets and pilots and ships to communicate targets to one another for better multi-crew combat. There is a lot to the new targeting methodology that I won't spend time on here, so make sure to check out the more in-depth videos from those like Noobifier that have been made on the subject. Combat is also now being pushed towards lower speeds with a few changes. When traveling above SCM speeds, your auto gimbal slew rate will be reduced and the time it takes to lock missiles will be increased. Speaking of the HUD, restricted zones have seen a significant rework with augmented reality paths appearing on your HUD, letting you know what paths to take through those restricted zones in order to get to your landing pad safely. And if you go to the wrong pad, well, you'll get your ship nabbed by the impounding system, which has also been updated to work a bit better in certain situations. But wait, how would you see all those new HUD elements with water all over your visor? Okay, yeah, that segue makes no sense. This next feature has nothing to do with the previous, but you can now wipe away the rain, snow, or moisture from your helmet when you can't see. While this has some nice gameplay implications, I can't help but feel this is more of an atmosphere building function than anything else. Cool, though a small ticket feature. But the changes don't stop there. The atmospheric flight model has also been overhauled pretty sufficiently in 3.10, with thruster efficiency curves and aerodynamic changes taking effect on a ship-by-ship basis. The experience of flying will be even more varied than ever. And you might want to avoid bringing your larger ships down to the ground from now on, especially in decoupled mode, as you will be forced to counteract gravity manually as you fly and hover. The addition of jerk will also lead to some changes in spaceflight that will have everybody reevaluating their dogfights and space station approaches. I already have a video featuring my first impressions of this change linked in the video description, and we'll go into further depth in the coming weeks and months, so subscribe here and keep an eye out for those. And if you haven't seen my new retrospective video which shows an in-depth review of the history and future of the atmospheric flight model, check it out in the video description. The signed distance field tech, which is being used to make the upgraded shields in a later update and being used to calculate ship cross-sectional area in the near future, is being used to display dynamic re-entry effects on each ship, which are pretty darn tootin' cool. The effects change based on the shape, size, and orientation of the ship. These effects are also visible from a distance, making for some pretty cool and quite romantic night sky effects. Moving on, the infamous bartender has finally been added to the game for a first iteration, and despite common belief, this system is meant to affect more than just the bartender AI. This system will affect the player's interactions with all vendors in future updates and will be used as a baseline for social AI throughout the game. This update has made bars more lively, with bartenders staying busy while not fulfilling orders, and jumping into conversation with NPCs in their off time, instead of serving you. And expanding on that subject of AI, combat AI will now act more realistic and tactical with new behaviors that will allow them to utilize a wider range of weaponry for specific situations. They can also detect, in the absence of full cover, possible positions where they can engage enemies without being fully exposed, hopefully lending to a more challenging FPS combat experience. Body dragging has also been added to the game, and while not incredibly useful yet, medical gameplay and bounty hunting are just two parts of the game that will benefit greatly from such a vital system. New prison kiosk repair missions have been added, which will allow you to peacefully reduce your prison sentence, adding to the gameplay possibilities for criminals who are too loser to avoid being caught. Finally, the famous box delivery missions now allow for multiple runs in one contract. I think these missions are a good take for new players, as mentioned in my recent top tips video. They will allow you to see the entire system while making money. These multi-delivery missions will allow you to make more money and spend less time coordinating your own routes, though you can still do that if you please. New ships in 3.10 include the Origin M50 rework, an older ship that is quite loved by the community and extremely fast as it is a racer. It received a visual update to fall more in line with the visual style of the brand. This also allowed designers to improve the geometry with more up-to-date practices and textures. The Archimedes received a new skin, which I guess is the thing. It's a good-looking ship and it's a great joy to fly, but a new skin? And the Grey Cat Rock ground mining vehicle was launched straight to drivable. Despite the selling JPEGs jokes surrounding the game, the company has definitely been selling ready-to-use game assets frequently as of late. This vehicle is the first foray into ground-level industrial activities and opens up the possibility of more planetary-focused missions in the future. On the subject of smaller improvements, the redundant terminal velocity indicator that was on all ships has been completely removed. Several ships have seen quality of life changes, including the Anvil Gladiator, Drake Buccaneer, Xi'an Scout, and Drake Caterpillar. Finally, new ships have been made purchasable at in-game ship shops, and ship paint skins have been added to ship component stores to allow for more in-game customization. Three new weapons have been added to the game this patch: the Lightning Bolt Company Atskav Sniper Rifle and Uberev Electron Pistol, as well as the Gemini C-54 Ballistic SMG, which is looking set to be my new favorite. The first of these two weapons introduces a new damage type, Electron Damage. This is a further iteration on the Weapons 2.0 system that I covered in my retrospective episode several weeks ago. Make sure to check that video out in the video description. This damage type will pass energy, distortion, and stun damage to the target. When the target is hit with electron damage, they become charged, and if the target receives a secondary hit while charged, it will create an electron detonation that can chain to nearby targets. Non-lethal damage is not an option yet, but this damage type sets the stage for that future improvement. In terms of spectrum, the front-end friends list has been updated to show offline contacts as slightly grayed out, a major milestone for development. You'll notice new hover effects caused by ships flying close to the ground. This isn't the best representation of thrust on the ground, but it is a start, and I look forward to improved VFX and SFX indicating what our ships are doing and how they interact with the environment. Day-night cycle temperature changes have also been added. The sun will now change the temperature of planetary surfaces based on the time of day, as one might expect. So now, at places like Microtech, you'll only kinda die from the cold during the daytime. And last, but, well, actually quite appreciated, ship culling distances have been increased to decrease pop-in and improve visual fidelity. That about wraps it up for Alpha 3.10, and I will undoubtedly have more to say about these features as I use them more. So expect videos in the future on big features like the flight model, and look out for my new Microtech cinematic, which includes the newly added location. I'll also be giving plenty of opinions on Twitch, So make sure to hop over there and see what I'm doing for that day. I stream Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and often play with my viewers. What did you enjoy seeing in this update, and what are you looking forward to seeing next? Do you feel the mission buyouts have been nerfed too much to see any real progression in this patch? I'd love to hear your opinions in the comments, on Twitter, and in my Discord, so speak up. And finally, I do have a Patreon, and my patrons get exclusive videos, early access, extended cuts of my cinematics, and free in-game shots to do with as they please. So consider heading over there to support me as well. And with that, I hope to see you in the next one, and may your garden be full of tomatoes.